This time on episode 197 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., Iron Fist, felling tree with roots, and your weekly Marvel news.
I'm Cody from Game Life Balance US, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1...
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent 2099.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show is recorded on Thursday, August 31st, 2017, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide on www.geeks.live. Happy National Trail Mix Day, guys!
Raisins, gross.
Yummy. Is there M&Ms?
It's trail mix. I would assume there would be M&Ms.
Sweet.
Well, that M&Ms are sweet. Okay. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Defenders on Netflix, Legion on FX, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the Marvel Comic Universe in general.
Because of brown chicken, brown cow.
If you'd like to talk to us about some Defenders, Brown Chicka Bow Wow, you can get us on our website, legendsofshield.com.
Or our voicemail, 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
Lauren and I, Lauren who is not here, can be found on our Facebook page, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
You want to talk to all of us on our Twitter account and talk to us about the Brown Chicka Bow Wow, it's at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or if you want to see the Brown Chicka Bow Wow, you can watch it on YouTube at www.youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
And remember, even if they're not proud to have us, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the GonnaGeek.com network.
Dang straight. You might have noticed that Agent Lauren is not here. And for those of you that are watching the live stream or even the production later, you know that Lauren is in Houston. The Hurricane Harvey just hit there. She is doing just fine. And as a matter of fact, she has just left for vacation. So she is gone, not because of the hurricane.
Ironically, vacation on a boat.
Go figure. It's like 2012, right? What's that name of that movie? 2012, right?
I don't know. I never saw it.
Yeah, that was the Roland Emmerich, John Cusack end of the world thriller.
Yeah, that's right. So Lauren is preparing for the end of the world right now, going on a boat. But she was planning on being gone, so we grabbed Agent 2099. He is glad to be here. We're glad to have him because apparently he's some sort of an Iron Fist expert.
Pretty close to it. I think I'm the only one on the network who studied Kung Fu, so I got that.
All right. So we have
You're the only one associated with Iron Fist at all that studied Kung Fu.
That might be true as well.
As a matter of fact, Marvel, if you're listening to this, you can catch Agent 2099 on the GonnaGeek.com network. He is available to help out with the writing of future Iron Fist appearances and choreography.
The job is a technical advisor, where you get to tell them everything they're doing wrong.
I see. Well, with that, let's just get on to the actual episode here, and let's talk some Iron Fist. All right, so Iron Fist Season 1, Episode 7. Yes, we are moving along at lightning speed now that Defenders is out, trying to get to the Defenders series. This episode is titled Felling Tree with Roots. Now, Anthony, since you are the Kung Fu expert on the network here, tell us a little bit about this title and how it relates to Iron Fist.
I have no way of knowing how it relates to Iron Fist, but I did find that there is an actual on Shaolin.org review of Fell. There is Felling Tree with Roots. And in the combat sequence 13 on Sifu Wong Ku Kit's homepage, it is the fourth step in a combat sequence that's basically a open-handed palm strike to the chest with your leg behind the opponent so that you'd be tripping them. Basically taking out their roots.
Huh. That is kind of like what Ward does to Harold later on, right?
A little bit. His is a little more violent, though.
Yeah, just a little bit. So we'll get there in a second. In the meantime, let's talk about the creative team. Haley, who directed this episode?
This episode was directed by Farren Blackburn. He has 25 directing credits going back to 2000. He started with some short films. Then he did some TV that nobody on this podcast probably has heard of. Then he did 2 episodes of Doctor Who, 2 episodes of The Musketeers, 2 episodes of Daredevil, 1 of The Defenders, and this episode of Iron Fist.
Ooh, The Defenders. I've heard that's a great series. Can't wait to get to it. Oh, yeah.
There was a Musketeers TV show?
It was a BBC show.
It had the Doctor in it.
Okay. Which one?
Capaldi.
Okay. So you can't say the Doctor. There's 13 of them.
There's more than 13, actually.
And then some.
Well, yeah, and then some. I'm so far behind on the Doctor.
Well, it's great that you say that, because if you want to catch up, there's this great podcast on the network called Gallifrey Public Radio, which you can find at GonnaGeek.com. They talk all sorts of things about Doctor Who. And
yeah, we're talking classic episodes right now, since we're not getting any new ones for a little while.
And you love the classic episodes, Haley. I know you do.
I like some of them. Some of them are not very good.
Well, some of them had $4 special effect budgets. I think they did pretty well with what they had.
Yeah.
All right. So talking about doing something pretty well with what they had, Anthony, who wrote this episode?
This episode is written by Ian Stokes, who has 3 writing credits since 2009, 10 of them on Warehouse 13, 7 episodes of Teen Wolf on MTV, which actually, I watched the first season. It's not a bad show.
I've watched all of it.
Nice. 2 episodes of Iron Fist for Felling Tree with Roots and Lead Horse Back to Stable, which, is that the next episode?
I'm not sure it's the 11th episode.
And yeah, he's also listed as the co-executive producer on all 13 episodes of Iron Fist. So he only has the 2 writing credits on there, but apparently he's on Iron Fist all day, every day.
And
maybe it's partially his fault.
No, I'll stick with Scott Buck there.
You just want to blame Scott Buck.
Yeah, Ian was probably like, Scott, come on, man, I'm trying to help you out here. Don't do it. Oh, I can't believe my name's on this.
Oh, he did
it. And Ian is also a producer for Warehouse 13 and Teen Wolf. You know what I'm finding is a lot of the writers are producers on these shows. So I'm going to keep an eye on that in the future. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. If you're not necessarily executive producer, but if you're a producer, because you have to be involved in the story from front to end in a lot of these shows, American anyways, because we have the writer's room and that sort of thing. I think Doctor Who or Gallifrey Public Radio talked about the differences between American TV and BBC and discussing how they do or don't do a writer's room for Doctor Who and how that leads to inconsistencies sometimes in the seasons of Doctor Who.
Sometimes.
All right. So let's get straight on into this episode. Let's talk about the biggest thing that happened in the episode, or at least one of the big things. I alluded to it before. Ward kills Daddy.
What?
Ward snapped.
Ward's been coming unhinged for a while now. It was bound to happen sooner or later.
True.
I mean,
yeah, this is definitely the episode where he lets go.
If I had $25 million stolen from my bank account, I'd be a little concerned too.
Well, and like 8 hours after you slammed your hand in a car door trying to get drugs. So like,
and then didn't even get the drugs.
And then didn't get the drugs.
I think if you had $25 million in the bank that you would know somebody that could get you drugs.
Yeah, seriously, he doesn't know how to get drugs? Come on, guy.
Yeah, I can't imagine the CEO of a company that can't just pick up the phone.
Also, they make pharmaceuticals at this company. Like, get some samples, dude.
Well, and the hands making illegal pharmaceuticals at this company. There's drugs downstairs, man.
13th floor.
But, you know, at this point in the series, I think you know Ward, not the sharpest crayon in the box.
Yeah. He's wound very, very tight.
He is indeed. And, oh my gosh, just, ugh. I'm not sure I was really for this to happen, and because I kind of liked Harold. And I have no idea if he magically comes back at some point as well or not, but if he doesn't, I enjoyed I think Harold was a great part of this series, and to not have him and have the broken Ward around, I just see this series going downhill if we stay in Manhattan.
Yep.
Okay. You guys
Also,
are like,
during that scene, Harold mentioned a couple of other things that the Hand's involved with. Just keep in mind, Roxxon, Midland Circle. Keep those in the back of your head.
Okay. Will do. I did notice the Marvel drops there with Roxxon and Midland Circle, so.
Roxxon's like the go-to for almost any writer if they want to reference another company in Marvel.
We just need another company name to throw out there. Roxxon.
Yeah. Roxxon.
So I thought it was interesting that this episode took us through Harold actually cutting off his own finger only for his son to kill him later on.
Well, all that to make sure they didn't cut off his finger, and then he just cuts it off himself anyways.
Yeah, and they're both standing there with bandaged left hands.
Like father, like son.
Yeah, just weird.
Worst thumb war ever. Ugh.
All right. Anthony, you really wanted to talk about something, and it's the whole reason that you're on this podcast anyway. You wanted to mention something, and we're going to flash back. We're not going to be in this episode for a little bit, but you want to go back to the first time that Danny shows up in the dojo.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I already watched the show all the way through once, because I usually take the Fridays off when the Marvel shows release, just like I do Marvel movies, and I usually binge through them within that weekend. And yeah, I watched all of Iron Fist the Friday it came out. And yeah, I did not enjoy it as much as Daredevil. I think somebody said it the best when I saw on Facebook. Someone said it's the ire that Marvel's getting off of Iron Fist is because they finally got a 6 or a 7 after receiving a bunch of 9s in a row. If Iron Fist had came out first, it wouldn't have been that bad. It's just that it came out 5th. And so it kind of hurt it. But yeah, when Danny's first going into the dojo on the rewatch, I was going through and seeing this when you guys talk about on the podcast, he kind of comes off as a jerk. And I was thinking about it that really when he was 10 years old, he gets, his parents die, he's lost in the mountains, raised by the monks for 15 years. And during that time, through all of his training, which I mean, from the comics, you'd see that basically he learned every different martial arts style available. And so you'd learn one, master it, challenge the master to beat them, and then move on to the next one. And so as a 10-year-old whose dad was a CEO of a corporation, he probably wasn't dealing with public school kids. He probably wasn't dealing with many other kids other than the Meachums. So he didn't really have many social graces that we see in the flashbacks anyways. And he was already kind of a weird kid growing up in that kind of insulated bubble. And then you add 15 years of martial arts training where basically every time you move on to something where you're not getting beat up, it's you beating up the next guy. And so when he walks into that dojo, he seems kind of rude, but I think in a way he was really trying to show respect by saying, I'm here and I want to challenge your master. And it was his way of saying that this is basically the only way I know how to pretty much introduce himself. And so it comes off to us as disrespectful, but I think character-wise, they were trying to put across that at that point, Danny really has no social graces. He doesn't know how to behave as a normal human in an adult environment with other adults. The only thing he knows to do is, hey, here's a martial artist in front of me. I should challenge them to see where we stack up. Because that's the only ranking system he's seen for 15 years.
I think the series suffers from a little bit more than just Danny not having any social graces.
Oh, it's not the only problem. I'm just saying that I think that was possibly more intended than it came across with him just being, extremely awkward.
So if you're looking at how the series is laid out, and I'm only halfway through it, there's 13 episodes. This is episode 7. This is the midway point. If we had a lot more of the dojo stuff of Danny learning in the dojo of Kun Lung in the first few episodes, do you think that would have set the stage for that sort of social inequities a little bit better, made the series better?
I think it would have. I think they missed a huge opportunity for, 19 times Joy asked him, what happened to you? What happened while you were gone? Everybody he runs into says, what happened to you? What happened while you were gone? Once, they start believing he is who he says he is. So that, just one, even, because it's Netflix, they can make the episodes as long as they want. One 20-minute sequence, because we get the flashback of him getting hit with the sticks, and it shows that he focused, and that's kind of how he got his rage to build up his chi and get out of the insane asylum. But like a 20-minute sequence of showing how he actually grew through the years. 15 years of doing nothing but training in martial arts, eating, sleeping, and studying. Like that, he had a very specific worldview. And if we'd have got just like a 20-minute training montage of, a young Danny and then, going through 4 or 5 different actors and just kind of showing, sequences, I think it could have helped a lot to show why he interacts with people the way he does.
Haley, you've seen the series all the way through, so I'm at a disadvantage, but do you think that would have helped out some early Kung Lung sequences?
Yeah, that might have helped. I did get the sense all along that they were playing him as kind of childlike and naive. So I kind of got that, but he's just really dumb, and it gets annoying.
Well, see, I think it's because the writers
so dumb
to it, but they didn't really explain it. And so I think that was part of the problem.
I think somebody nailed it. Don't be a jackass, Danny.
He is. He most definitely is.
Okay, so we've had our say of that for now.
Sorry.
If you we want to come back to it, we will, but we kind of understand where Danny was coming from, but it didn't help the series go anywhere in early stages. But something that just came out of the blue, and it was important to talk about that because something, in my opinion, that came out of the blue was the romantic relationship between Danny and Colleen. Haley, where did that come from? Did I miss how this built?
He took his shirt off. We were right there. You saw it happen.
Now, see, in all fairness, I would see how that works when someone's trying to get coffee with Mike Colton. I don't see how that works with Finn Jones because he's not even in that good a shape.
That's the thing. I was thinking the exact same thing when I rewatched that episode earlier today. Like, I'm not going to look away, but I'm not going to ogle him. He's not that impressive.
Yeah, the blind lawyer is much better in aesthetically, pleasing shape as just a guy who works out all the time than the character who supposedly spent the last 15 years eating rice and doing push-ups and throwing punches and kicks. Danny Rand should be like a cord of wood. Like there shouldn't be an ounce of fat on him. He should look like Scott Adkins is what he should look like. He should look like Scott Adkins.
At least he didn't have any oozing gut wounds. Did that going for him.
I was going to say, you ladies have been cheated with the male shirtless scenes in these Marvel Defenders Netflix series. There's always something going on with the...
Yeah, because even then, his arm was cut.
Yep. But it's okay. They gave us Mike Colder's smoldering eyes.
And you think that's good enough to equate for all the damaged shirtless scenes?
We'll forgive them a little bit. Like, not all the way forgive them, but just, a little bit.
So what you're saying is coffee with Mike would be good.
Well, yeah.
And for references to that, you can go back and check out our coverage of the Luke Cage series. So let's move on. Because that's all I have to say about the hookup. There's nothing more to say. It's just they came out of nowhere, they're hooked up, and then all of a sudden, oh, that was nice, and now they're together. So, okay. A couple that are kind of together because they both got kicked out of Rand together are Joy and Ward. And this hits Joy just out of nowhere. Ward I could see, but why did they kick Joy out too?
Because she was there helping make the bad decisions.
Because she's a stepping stone to Danny, and she helped Danny.
She's getting painted with the same brush.
Is Danny on the board, or he just majority owner?
Both.
He's the majority shareholder, which gives him a seat on the board.
Yep.
So they can't vote him off.
They can force him to sell his stock. That's what they can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was another thing too on the rewatch that I didn't understand, because you keep seeing the characters getting routinely annoyed by the fact that Danny makes what they consider stupid business decisions. I can understand the concept for the writer's room of saying, okay, he comes back, he owns 51% share in the company, no one can stop that, so they have to give him a position. But couldn't they have written it in that he has to have a tutor and he can't make a decision that affects the entire company until he, gets a BA in business? Like, just something that says, the dojo kid with 15 years of push-up experience can't make decisions as a CEO until he has basic understanding of economics.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not like the middle ages, and he's above the legal age. So it is simply economics. If he owns the majority of the share, that's it. He gets the say. And that's the truth of most companies, is they go that way. So it's
just one of those things. I know a lot of people complain about the Meachums taking up so much time in the show, and I think it's also a missed opportunity for comedy. If the Meachums had got together and said, okay, Danny, we'll give you your chunk of the company, but we want to have you hire a tutor, and he's going to teach you the basics of just economics. And they could have brought in any actor, and they could have had these great cut sequences where Danny wants to go fight someone in the alley. Yeah, they could have brought in Tony Stark. And they got all these sequences where Danny wants to go out and fight someone in the alley, and then Tony Stark's yelling at him. He's like, you have to learn this first, then you get to go be a superhero.
Yeah, Tony.
Like, it could have been hilarious.
Tony's going to be the voice of reason.
It's always bad when Tony's the voice of reason.
Who would have been better than Tony Stark?
Pepper Potts?
That's right.
Justin Hammer. Because then you would have a reason for him to make bad decisions going forward. And they could have got Sam Rockwell. Let's be honest. You could have had 2 episodes with a 10-minute sequence of Sam Rockwell teaching him how to do the Justin Hammer dance and how to do Justin Hammer economics. Like, it would have been hilarious.
Point Agent 2099. That's awesome. So another thing that was awesome about the episode is Madame Gao, because she is just awesome, whatever she does. And right now she is walking just pretty much uncontested throughout Rand, even though everybody knows she's a criminal, but she's right there. And let's just bring a little bit more light in here. It's too dark for me because I can't see in the shadows if somebody's hiding in there.
That actress is so great, and she gets everything for her character gets cranked up in the Defenders, and it's just so awesome. But I don't want to say anything to spoil SP, but man, the actress is great. She's so good, and I love the fact that she's also one of the connecting tissues. That I think, is Luke Cage the only one she doesn't show up in? Because I think she got a mention in Jessica Jones.
I don't remember for sure.
I don't remember.
Because, I mean, she's heavily in Daredevil, and then we have her in Iron Fist, and then she's in Defenders. Like, she's in there as a connective tissue, just like Rosario Dawson.
She was in at least one of the series, at least Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. I don't remember which.
I think, she popped into one of them. But she's a great actress.
Oh, she is. It was good to see her, and good to finally see her acting, and then just playing Danny. Just like, so
easily.
So easy to do, because as we've established, Danny's an idiot. So you tell him to go from point A to point B. He's going to go in a straight line.
She calls Danny out on leaving Kung Lung for his own reasons, not because he was on official Iron Fist business, and then just proceeds to berate him left or right, and he doesn't really say anything other than get out of my company, which he's not going to do.
Yeah, and that's something, too, that I was thinking back about. I need to go find some of the classic Iron Fist books, because I mean, all the stories I've read of him mostly are Power Man and Iron Fist team-ups, Heroes for Hire stories, and I don't ever remember actually reading why it was that if he's the defender of Kung Lung, why he's not at Kung Lung, which seems to be one of the main focal points in the story of this show is, if you're supposed to be defending the Mystical City, why aren't you there?
But she also takes this as an opportunity that the gates of Kung Lung are now open. So I can see where that's kind of going, especially since she leaves at the end of the episode. We'll talk about that in a second. A new player comes in. I don't remember seeing him in earlier episodes. Bakuto? Is that it?
Bakudo.
Yeah, so tell me about Bakudo, because I have no background.
He's some sort of friend or mentor of Colleen. That's what we know at this point.
Yep.
Okay. And that's just about it. Is this going to be a main player as we go forward?
He will be fleshed out more going forward.
Okay.
He's just introduced in this episode.
Yep.
Because I read the character biography that we have of the cast, and I know that he's supposed to be more than what he appeared to be, so.
Colleen is very loyal to him. Her loyalties are to him first. She says that.
That's also interesting. And it's interesting that he brings up Danny Rand just out of the blue.
Well, she told him that he's the Iron Fist, and he knows what that means.
Yeah, I think, and the cut sequence from him walking into the dojo to them sitting at the table, we're supposed to get the idea that Colleen's basically laid out everything that's been happening, and Bakudo's now responding to it. But we're skipping past the point where she's telling the whole story about meeting Danny.
Because, we just binged the 6 episodes before this. We don't need to hear that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody's like me.
That's another great actor.
Yeah, and watches an episode a month or whatever it's been averaging out to be. So if you move ahead, though, Danny is learning. He's not completely stupid. He's learning the corporate game, and he learned how to use the media to his advantage. So I have to give him that. Nobody wants to give him that.
That was an accident.
Well, it's, the decisions he's making are, they're not based in economics or anything. He's thinking with his heart and saying, I think this is wrong. We're going to do X. And so far, those decisions have come across positive in the public eye, no matter what they're doing to the bottom line of Rand. Because as far as the board's concerned, he's killing the company. But publicly, if someone comes in and says, hey, we're going to shut down this plant because people might be dying of cancer. Hey, we're going to sell this drug at cost because it'll save, 20,000 lives, which
50,000
on the global scale,
yeah,
50,000. Yeah, but on a global scale, it's a small number compared to 8 billion humans. And it's like, well, okay, we're just not going to make any money off of that drug, but it also means no money for research, like they tried to tell him. But yeah, it just seems where it's a positive. It looks positive in the public eye, at least for now.
But shortchanges the company eventually. It's kind of like Tony Stark's announcement that we're not going to make weapons anymore. Well, what the heck else is your company going to do?
Yeah. You're an ironmonger, Tony. We sell weapons.
It's what we do. So, Anthony, since you are the Kung Fu expert on the network, let's talk about how much the Iron Fist actually shows up on screen this time around. I mean, it's useful for grappling down elevator shafts and fighting at the pier.
Yeah, that's another weird one, but I do have to say, anytime there's superheroes and they think of different ways to use the abilities, I enjoy that from writers. It's the whole thing like, well, Luke Cage is bulletproof. Yeah, but can he breathe underwater? You have to think of ways around stuff and ways to affect superpowers or to use superpowers. And the idea of Danny going, okay, the only way I'm getting down to catch her is if I use the Iron Fist, grab the elevator cable and slide down it. And he does it knowing that it's still going to hurt even with the Iron Fist. It was I like the idea that it was a cool use of the power. Like, he's not punching anybody in that sequence, but he's still using it to try to further his goals as the Iron Fist by, following, an evil member of the Hand. So I thought it was a cool use of the power, which I think we could have seen more of that in this show, but it happens a couple times.
We also find out that the Chi has a battery to it that powers the Iron Fist, so the battery can run down.
Indeed.
How did you like the fighting at the pier?
The fighting at the pier was good. other than the fact that it was because this is right before they find the Russian, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and just that whole sequence, that seems to be one of the other drawbacks of the show, which I think they're, as a way to, if you don't want to have as many cut sequences in a fight sequence, you take all your actors, you put them in a confined space with lots of tall objects, and you lower the lights. And that seems to be a routine that they use quite often in the show, because that way you can get your stunt actor with a curly wig on and make it look like it's Finn Jones instead, for Danny Rand. And yeah, it's the low light fighting, which my screen's nice enough I can still see what's going on, so I don't mind it, but I can see where it might be, kind of annoying to people because exactly why they're doing it that way. but Colleen whoops some butt.
So what you're saying is give you a wig and you will gladly be on set and kick ass with Colleen.
I'll be honest, with 1 month training in a wig, I could do what Finn Jones did in this show. No problem. Yeah. I gotta lose a little bit of it's not beer belly anymore, but it's still just belly. But yeah, it'd take about a month. I'd be in enough shape to do what he did as an actor on this show. And I'm pretty sure I could deliver his lines as well as he does. So, and I'm a lot cheaper than Finn Jones coming out of Game of Thrones. I'll guarantee you that. I don't think they were paying him scale.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. I know a lot of people like it. I'm glad we'll see when we get to the end of that if it's worth me going back and watching from the Battle of the Brothers, I believe it was.
No, Battle of the Bastards.
Battle of Bastards, yeah.
Battle of the word I'm not sure we can say on here.
Yeah, you can say it. You should watch Game of Jones.
Yeah.
It's Leslie Jones watching the episodes, and it is hilarious.
Oh, see, I was hoping it was Vinnie Jones.
No, so much better.
Anyway, let's get back to the Iron Fist episode at hand, Felling Tree with Roots, and let's talk about how it ended, where Danny learns that Gao has gone to Anzu, and he's putting 1 and 1 together finally. Haley?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so the Russian tells Danny that Gao is headed to Anzu, which coincidentally
the guy at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is where Danny...
Oh, yeah, but the plane was going to land if it hadn't crashed.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah.
It gives thoughts that Wendell might have been on the same trail that Danny finds himself.
That Danny's on now.
Yeah.
Or that he was working for Madame Gao.
True, because we find out, I think it was last episode, we found out that Wendell knew Gao, or Gao said she knew Wendell.
Yeah, she said she knew him, but Danny doesn't know one way or another how.
And it's great. He always asks her this in the conversations, like, you gonna trust her, what she says? She has no honor. She proved that last time, so.
And he has, 2 or 3 people tell him, why are you believing what basically your arch nemesis is telling you? You shouldn't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. She's your enemy.
Independent verification.
Yeah.
You got a Misty Knight.
He's going to go to China.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
All right. So I think we talked this one out unless anybody has anything else. Let's get to quotes. Haley, you got some quotes?
Well, Anthony, I think, only had one, so I'll let him go first.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to get, you think I don't know that? You think I don't know how messed up this is? I'm not a child, says Ward Meacham to the corpse in the backseat of his car that he's about to dump in a swamp.
That was so freaky. Talking to that's when I knew he had the psychotic break.
That was he's up until that point, he's stressed. That was the moment. Ward's gone. Ward is gone. He's lost it.
All right.
At least he's making good time. You know, he's going through the lights. They're all green.
Yeah.
Well, he's made this trip once already tonight. He knows the way. All right. I have no idea what an Iron Fist is. Sounds like a sex toy.
I laughed when I heard that. There's very few moments of humor, the laugh out loud humor in this series, and you just gotta grab onto them when they come.
Any tournament of death you can walk away from.
That's right. I mean, doesn't matter if you won or lost, you walked away.
Does she run the best little whorehouse in the hand or something?
Was it not Lady Gao, not
Mrs. Gao,
not Lauren or Mrs. Gao, not Vicky Gao, Madam Gao?
Why, Mr. Rand, I have a mind to report you to HR.
That part was great.
It was. So, for the listener, what we're talking about is when he goes down to the 13th floor and then Madame Gao leaves and then he apprehends, I guess, the drug dealer who's face down on the table with her arm behind her as Danny is holding her there. So, yeah, that would not be appropriate workplace behavior, by the way.
No.
Stick with the business, son. You're a crappy thief.
Right. So we didn't really talk about it, but the $25 million that Ward had was embezzled money from the company.
Hold on.
Okay.
Technically, it was the employee pension fund.
Yeah, so that was my money. Technically, it was the employee pension fund. Yeah, he had $25 million in his private account, and it wasn't even his money. It was stolen money from the company.
So not only
where's his checking account?
Yeah. Not only is he an idiot, but he can't steal anything either.
He's like very much the Eric Trump of the family. I'm going to put it out there.
Well, Bill Clinton's brother, what's his name?
Roger
Clinton. You got to go both sides of the aisle here. I mean, there's stuff on both sides, but yeah, nice pull with the Eric Trump. All right. We managed to get through another episode of Iron Fist. We're really excited to get through the next 6 episodes. Next time we will talk Iron Fist season 1, episode 8 on Sunday. I think, we have to discuss our next, recording time, Haley, but next Sunday, for now, we will put it on the books. The Blessing of Many Fractures. So looking forward to that. By the way, we've talked a little bit about other shows on the Gonna Geek Network, like Gallifrey Public Radio. There's also another show on the network. We talked about them in the past weeks called Digital Soup, and they recently came out with episode 36 of their run. So congratulations, guys, for making it to 36 episodes. The title of the episode is Origin Stories and Rooster Pirates. Rooster Pirate. What's that? Okay. So the movie industry is in a constant state of reboots and remakes, but what are the origin stories you actually want to see? How secure do you feel online? Have you ever tried some RetroPie? In episode 36, the guys tackle some news about Funko getting hacked on Twitter, some great info about VPN's work, and then the main topic, the guys dive into, that's a little inside joke, by the way, dive into their top 5 movie character origin stories that they actually want to see. And if you want to check that episode out, it's at GetAGeek.com. It's episode 36 of the Digital Soup podcast. All right, folks, it's time to move on to the news.
All right. This week, we have tons of news about the next Netflix series. Starting with our favorite cop, Misty Knight, and her new bionic arm. So, go for it,
Sorry, I was muted.
Anthony.
Spoilers for SP, but yeah, for those of us who watch The Defenders, we wanted it to happen when we saw her arm get injured in Luke Cage, and a lot of us were really sad when Misty didn't lose her arm. Then she lost in Defenders, and now we have the first photo on set of Luke Cage Season 2 with Misty Knight walking through a garage next to Mike Colton wearing a bionic arm. So Misty Knight is back and is they're ready to a little bit closer to doing the Daughters of the Dragon. Get us a bad chick team up with her and Colleen just going around and kicking butt. But yeah, it's cool because and Claire could definitely, they could add her. That'd be awesome. But yeah, it's cool. It looks nice. It's weird because it's not the like super smooth, silky Winter Soldier one that we're used to seeing. It looks like a prototype arm that someone would have for like their first version. So it looks a little bulky. It's got a bunch of different pieces. It's different pieces of metal and plastic. It's multiple colors. But yeah, it looks like something someone would wear after, having a limb amputated and having it replaced. So it's, for a set photo and, not many details, but it's cool because they specifically in the arm piece, you can see what looks like a sensor attached to her shoulder where that the twinges in the muscles would control the hand. And so, Iron Fist can punch through some stuff, but now Misty Knight will be able to as well because she's stepping it up and she's going to have a mean right hook.
Nice. So Misty, Colleen, Claire. Can we get some J Money in there?
She'll run the office. and keep him out of jail.
I don't know.
She's just bail money.
I would love to see her fight again. You know, she was good in the choreography with The Matrix. She would be awesome.
That's true. Carrie-Anne
That
Moss.
was also like 20 years ago.
It's all in the muscle memory. It'll come back. A month of training in a wig. She'll be good.
What?
Can you do all the things you did 20 years ago, SP?
Yeah, for a little while.
Could you do them again the next day?
It depends on how much painkillers I'm on. Naproxen, Advil, Tylenol, that sort of thing. Not the stuff that Ward Meacham takes, by the way. I'm talking over-the-counter stuff.
All right, well, more Marvel Netflix news. The Punisher has added another actor to the series.
Yeah, and this is one me and SP will both be excited about because she worked on The Expanse. She was Oscar nominated for The House of Sand and Fog. She's been on 24, X-Men: The Last Stand. Shorey Aghdashloo.
Nice.
Pretty sure I murdered that, but yeah, it's a very tough name to say. But yeah, I tried to pronounce it phonetically. But yeah, she's being added on as the mother of a Homeland Security agent in the new Punisher show. So we know there's going to be some even more high caliber talent added onto that show. I'm so excited for the Punisher. We still have that coming out before the end of the year as well.
Which is why we're doing
Punisher. We got Thor coming.
Yeah. That's why we're doing 2 podcasts a week. We're trying to get caught up before the end.
Yeah, SP's got to watch some Defenders.
Yeah, I know. So, all with due respect to the listener, we did this story in the last podcast, but neither of these two have had a chance to speak up about this particular news story. So, guys, this actress, she's amazing, and yep. I absolutely love her. Haley, what do you think about her?
I love her too. I had to look it up to see who she was because I didn't know her by name. But as soon as I saw her picture, I was like, "Oh yeah, she's awesome."
Yeah, because she's vicious in The Expanse. People are
and
afraid
I
of
love
her.
just listening. I love listening to her talk. Like she doesn't have to do anything. She can just sit there and talk. Like she is impressive.
Yeah, it's not a sing-songy voice. It's a very commanding voice. No. It's got a heavy accent to it, but you can clearly
very husky.
Yeah, you can clearly understand her, and she knows what she's doing. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah, she comes off with real authority. She exudes authority in her characters very well. So yeah, her being like the parent of a Homeland Security agent, like it's going to be interesting to see what role she plays, adversarial or helpful towards Frank Castle. I mean, they got to assume basically everybody on that show is going to be adversarial. He's not going to have many friends because, well, he's Frank Castle. But yeah, it'll be exciting. I want to see her and Shane in a scene yelling at each other. That could be really good.
I wonder what her weapons experience is going to be in the show because that could be awesome. Her going up against Frank.
Oh, she ends up actually being someone that he fights. That could be cool.
Well, I mean, it's a superhero show. Of course, you're going to have people
playing a psychiatrist. So.
Well, yeah.
But we've got a little more news about the Punisher series. We still, I think, at this point, have not had a release date revealed.
Nope.
But we do have all of the episode titles, and it was an interesting way that they released it. On the Twitter feed, they started putting out Morse code tweets, like one every few minutes. And then after they'd put them all out, somebody was like, wait, there's 13 of these. Oh, I know what these are. These are episode names.
That's awesome.
So if you think episode names are spoilers, skip ahead for about a minute to get past this, but I'm going to run these down real quick. So we've got 3 a.m., 2 Dead Men, Kandahar, Resupply, Gunner, The Judas Goat, Crosshairs, Cold Steel, Front Toward Enemy, Virtue of the Vicious, Danger Close, Home, and Memento Mori.
Nice. Just those titles. Oh, wow. Like Kandahar, obviously, we're going to have some flashbacks to Kandahar. And, it's going to be awesome.
But yeah, I think they showed part of that in the trailer. They show a flashback sequence to Castle and his crew in military garb.
I kind of wonder if this Punisher series is going to be kind of Arrow-ish. Like, we're going to have lots of flashbacks to, what Frank did before he ended up in New York City. So we're going to flash back to Afghanistan. We're going to flash back to his family. We're going to flash back to a lot of these dark times in his past.
Yeah, it'll
Could
be
be,
interesting.
the problem with Punisher is not having a villain. So having excess origin could definitely help fill out the story.
It could. I'm just trying to think of, because we've already gotten kind of the Punisher's origin, so it's not really going to be an origin on the Punisher, but more filling out the character, that might work. I don't know. I know I'm excited to see this series. Scott, tell me Scott Buck was not involved in this series.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll find
Off
out.
the top of my head.
I'm pretty
Let me
sure.
check IMDb.
I'm pretty sure Scott Buck was not involved in this series because he was busy screwing
I
up
would doubt it.
Inhumans. What's that, Haley?
Which I think comes out I was going to say he was probably busy messing up Inhumans. I think that comes out this weekend in IMAX, right?
That's right. It
So,
does. And
Everybody rush out and see that.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind is also out this weekend. It's a retro weekend. There must not be too much that's being released in the theaters. Yeah, IMAX.
I might go see it, but probably not.
I'm thinking we'll wait until it's out on the TV before we talk about it on the podcast, because I'm not thinking a lot of people are going to go out and see it this weekend. So, and Lauren definitely can't play in 2012 again.
And I see Scott Buck's name nowhere in the full cast and crew list, so I think we're safe. I think we're safe, SB.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right. That's it for the news. And we are going to hustle by prior agreement this one out. Thank you very much for listening to the shows. We know that this summer has been an interesting one to get through, as they always are with Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we're looking forward to getting into November with some good comic book goodness. In the meantime, we've got the rest of Iron Fist and then Defenders to get through. Yes. And then Inhumans and Punisher and Thor Ragnarok. It's going to be a fun holiday season this year. And thank you very much for sticking with us. We really appreciate that. And thank you, Agent 2099, for coming on and giving your take of the Iron Fist.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to everyone that listens to the show. I haven't been here in a while because I've been busy doing things. But we love all of our listeners, so thank you very much.
And Haley,
everybody.
I just have to say I'm impressed that you were able to reconstitute your podcast studio.
Yeah, I just moved recently and I had to put everything back together, and it only took me like 3 tries to get everything working again.
Dang it!
That's not bad.
I can't get the sound. I can't get what? Oh, it's that button.
It was one cable. I had it plugged in the wrong place on the mixer, so my sound wasn't going back into the computer.
I know how frustrating that is. As a matter of fact, I helped Chris. By the way, Anthony is one of the people over the hosts of All Things Good and Nerdy, which is Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern. And his producer on ATGN is Chris, my co-host over on Starling Tribune. And when Chris set up his mixer, I had to, guys, it was hilarious because I could sense the frustration through the text. And then he called me. He's like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. He was so angry and so frustrated. But I got him situated in about 20 minutes and he was able to, and it's difficult helping somebody over the phone. It's like tech support with your parents on their computer. It's that sort of thing. So it's like, oh, just calm down, Chris. Difficult. We'll figure this out and we'll just get through it. So anyway, Haley, it's so great having you back, and we're looking forward to finishing off Iron Fist and going from there. So until next time, I'm Director Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Haley.
And I'm Agent 2099.
Which you can catch at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Logbox Edition. Go check that out. See you guys later. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com, where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2017.